Go for it.
Okay, well, I'll go and get started. And really, there's three key markets we want to be able to analyze today. One is more of like a vacation market, one is more of an urban, and then one's more of a hybrid. So I'll probably go through these pretty quick, so just give high level, and then Matt, since you're on, would love to maybe pause and get some, we can maybe even analyze some of the markets you're looking at if we have them within the app itself. And if we don't have them, I would love for you to pull up a Zillow link that has the MLS
Yeah.
associated with that property, and we can make sure and go get that market and pull it into the actual
Yeah.
technology itself.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Well, cool. Let me share my screen. And this one's going to be fun to evaluate first because it's actually the one I am buying right now. So I'll show you guys exactly what I'm doing. Let me see here. So I'm going to zoom out on the app. Okay. So I'll give a little backstory to this and tell you why I decided to pursue this area, and then we'll go into the actual underwriting analysis of it all. So, I have four short-term rentals. I've got one in Fredericksburg. I've got one in Seaside, Florida. I've got one in College Station, and I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, Canyon Lake, Florida, or Canyon Lake, Texas. And this year, I've been trying to get one a year, obviously for like tax write-offs, but to keep scaling my portfolio and achieve a lot of the things that you guys are trying to achieve. So here we are at the end of the year. It's November or December now, and I was like, crap, I didn't buy a property this year, and I've been buying one ever since 2020. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to get one. And this is how you guys can actually go through a very similar process to me to achieve what I was able to achieve. So I was facing over $100,000 tax problem I was going to have to pay next year, which was going to be a total bummer. Um, I was running out of time, and I honestly just didn't have the capital to do as the down payment and the capital for improvements to get it to a very profitable property. The last thing I want is to buy a property and it just be a break even, unless I really, really want it as like a cool vacation market. So
Hmm.
what happened is I found a property in Fredericksburg. I'm already familiar with that market, and I underwrote it using StrIQ. And all I did was send it to a capital partner, and I said, "Hey, do you want to go invest on this deal with me?" And she said, "Yes. Where do I cut the check?" And so now I'm actually under contract. We're moving past option today, and we're going to close in 2 weeks. And I'll show you exactly what that property looks like, what we're planning to do to it, and how you can do a very similar thing I did to also unlock that for you guys. So, okay, if you look out, Fredericksburg again is in the hill country of Texas. And, usually you kind of want to stay close to walking distance to Maine if you can. But if you get right outside of the main walking distance, you can actually avoid STR regulations because of that. And you can find larger acreage properties that have a lot more opportunity. So even though you're not walking distance to Maine, you can actually create a lot of opportunities and force appreciate that property and force that revenue higher. So we discovered this property. It's there's a main house which is like 5 bedrooms. And then there's a guest house, which is 2 bedrooms, and there's a barn with an upper area for more build out. And it's on 6 acres, and it has a river by it. And the hill country of Texas is like big for like weddings and family reunions and all sorts of events. So I look at the price tag, I probably wouldn't be able to afford that on my own. If I were to just buy it on my own, I wouldn't have any money left over for capital. But here's what I did. So I went in and I looked at it. From first glance, it shows a negative 20% cash on cash return, and you're like, why would I want to buy that? Well, let's dive a little bit further. This is why we really want to do these weekly trainings because from initial glance, it doesn't look like a good property, but I'm going to show you actually how to turn it into something really awesome, and you'll use those same, principles to your properties. So you go click analyze. I'm the broker, so I negotiated the deal. I went down to 145. A good rule of thumb is you can usually negotiate at least 3% off the price, depending on the market. Hopefully, way more than that because it's a buyer's market right now. Another thing to note in Zillow, like let me go back to this real quick. So when we syndicate the data directly from the MLS, It shows a 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath. Now that's deceiving because it's actually a 7 bedroom property. So why would it show 4 bedrooms? Well, Zillow, because it's a residential property, the MLS forces them to only show the amount of bedrooms on the main house as if it were a residential property you're going to buy and like live in it. Well, we're investors, we're not going to probably live in it. And so that's the opportunity is you got to read a little bit further down and it shows a guest house. And in fact, they didn't show one of the bedrooms as a part of the main property that actually makes it a 5 bedroom on the main instead of four. So we discovered it's actually 7 bedrooms, which we're going to be layering the AI to really pull that out over time. But for now, it's a little bit more of a manual process. So let's go click analyze. 145 is the final price. It's 7 bedrooms and it's 3.5 bath. Okay. So again, from first glance, it doesn't look like there's a lot of revenue opportunity, but we underwrite every single one of these properties as if it were a mid-scale average property. Well, I don't want to be an average operator. I want to operate at the highest level, which means I might could get up to that 90th percentile. Well, that 90th percentile was based on that 4 bedrooms. So I went into the comps dashboard, which I can show y'all later, and it showed, hey, if you actually get up to that 90th, 75th to 90th percentile in that upper end, you could actually be making like 2 to 300,000 if you do it right. So I'm gonna go manually update this to 1250, and then I'm gonna say 55% occupancy, which gets me up to that 250 grand in revenue. So I validated that. So at this point, I went and validated that in the comps dashboard, which I can show you all a little bit later. And I had a call with Summerled, who is a professional designer, an installer, and I got their feedback without even telling them anything. And this is data they were able to even show me as well to help validate a big 7 bedroom property in this area. So 250,000 is reasonable as long as I'm willing to spend the capital to do it. So here's the capital piece. Now, to get there, I had to look at the key amenities again back in the comps dashboard to show, hey, pickleball, you got to do it, hot tub. A pool is really, really important. I don't want to spend the money for like an in-ground pool right now, but I'll probably do like a above ground cowboy pool or something like that and really tailor it towards family reunions and maybe weddings. So we're going to put in about 100,000 for furniture and about 100 grand for renovation. It may go up a little bit more, but that's what we're factoring in. I'm going to be managing it on my own, so no management fee. Insurance is probably going to be juiced up a little bit because of these larger events, and we underwrite everything else for you. And then let's factor in maybe like 1,000 bucks for miscellaneous. Now, in this situation on financing, you can do all sorts of different things. 20% is a good rule of thumb for a DSCR situation where the revenue can justify the expenses. But here we were able to negotiate a 10% down situation based on a 7% interest rate. And I used my real estate fee and seller concessions to wipe out closing costs. So I'm going to take out all these closing costs. And here you can see it's a 16% cash on cash return, makes almost $5,000 a month in net cash flow. So it went from a negative performing property to now a 16% cash on cash, making almost 5 grand a month with even possible upside because there's basically, let me show a picture of this. There's a lot of land and it's on 6 acres. And so let me show you guys this. Okay, here we go. So there's like this cool barn that can be built out for additional bedrooms. There's all this acreage here. And so there's a ton of opportunity to just create more ADUs or whatever and even juice up the revenue even higher. So this is kind of the base case of what we think we'll make with way more upside. And so here's the best part. Found that, went through this underwriting, kind of like what I just told you guys. Then I clicked this top right button up here and I sent it to Laura Sherman on there, my capital partner, and I said, "Hey, here's a really cool deal. Would you like to go? What do you think? You want to go invest?" And she goes, "Where do I cut the check?" And so literally, it happened that fast to where if you have a professional underwriting pro forma and you're struggling with capital, well, you've just spent the time to find the deal. You learned the knowledge to understand how to make the money, and now that's how you can unlock capital if you're struggling, or if you have the capital, great. Go do the deal, and now you feel more confident about it. So that is one example in Fredericksburg that I'm actually personally buying. So I'll keep y'all posted on that story because I want to be very transparent with what I'm doing so that y'all can learn through the process with me. Any questions on that before I go to Panama City Beach?
Yeah,
Matt, Marvin?
just one question for you, Matt, just real
Yeah,
quick. This isn't currently operating as an STR, correct?
it is.
Oh, it is currently.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
property, so I found out it's making about 108,000 bucks per year. It's like $1,000 ADR with like 35% occupancy.
Okay.
So that already tells me low occupancy. So
Yeah.
there's already room for improvement. Um, and I could probably juice the ADR if I put in really, really cool amenities because you can tell like it's a cool property now, but there's no like really cool string lights, experiential stuff. It's not really hosted for like weddings or reunions. There's no like outdoor kitchen. There's no pickleball. So I just, I saw it and said, hey, 108,000 is kind of like the worst case scenario. I think I could juice that up way higher as a good operator.
Okay.
Cool. Leslie, any questions from you before we go to the next one? Okay.
Nope,
All
we're
right.
good.
Let's go over to Panama City Beach. So this is going to be our vacation market we're going to test out. And so when you go to this
Mm.
market, I'm going to try to start from the high level and then zoom in from, there to show you exactly how you can do it in each market. So there's a lot of blue. So just like on Zillow, it's hard to identify. So now let's start taking away the things that don't matter to you. So let's go underwrite the full market by clicking on cash on cash. Now let's go put in some simple filters. What I like to do is do like a minimum of 1% cash on cash. Again, the reason I do 1% is because we underwrite every property as if it were average, knowing there's way more upside if it were better than average. It just kind of cuts out just a lot of the bad stuff. And then I usually like to do anything minimum of like 75,000 or 100,000 in revenue. And then there's other things you can do like purchase price, bedrooms, all that stuff. So let's just do revenue and cash on cash for now is like the easy things. And then we've got a few properties here that are popping up. And this is one that popped up that was kind of interesting. So this one is a duplex in Panama City Beach. It's got a pool and it's close to beach access right here. And it's a 6 bedroom property. So here's another visual of it. Now, this is one, I can't remember if my local guy sent it to me or if I sent it to him, but I was able to chat with my local agent, Joe Rohn there, and get his feedback on it. And so he was telling me, well, I'll tell you his feedback in a minute. Let's go see what StrIQ says, and then I'll tell you how we can leverage local feedback to make it even better. So this is saying from an initial glance, it can make about 184 grand and at least break even or maybe better based on the data. So let's go analyze it. Let's say you bring that down just a little bit. Very similar purchase price to what I was dealing with in Fredericksburg. Okay, this is showing mid-scale is 184,000, upscale is showing 279,000, and premium showing 320,000. So, okay, this is interesting because I have a text message from my buddy here, Joe, and he said, "Hey, if you were to put in about 200,000 of capital to really convert the garages to additional amenity space or bedroom space, because there's additional garages here. And then you did interior updates with better design and amenities. Then I think this property could make over 300 grand in revenue. Well, that's awesome because we're showing, hey, if you were to do some of these cool premium things, boom, you can make over 300 grand based on that right, sliding scale. So let's go factor in those expenses here. And let's say 100 grand for furniture. And let's say 100 grand for renovation. And we could come back and, make some adjustments to that. Let's show zero management fee. Let's juice up insurance again because it's a larger property. and we have everything else there, maybe add in a little bit for miscellaneous. And let's say maybe this one a 15% down payment, maybe you do a 15% DSCR or a second home loan, and then you do 7.25% interest rate because of that. And let's just keep closing costs. And this is showing a 30% cash on cash return, 11 grand a month in net cash flow. So, this is probably on the best case scenario. You probably have to like hire a professional designer, a legit team to come in there, convert those garages. But this is showing that there's some bones here of a really, really interesting property if done well. Because it's in a great market, it's close to the beach, there's a pool. So, you know, but the key to this is you've got to make sure you don't just halfway do it. You got to be able to take the risk to invest in the right capital and amenities and do well. And as a result, you might can make a 20 to 30% cash on cash and make over 10 grand a month in cash flow. So again, this is one, if you don't have the money, you can just click it, send it to maybe a capital partner and say, hey, is this something y'all would want to evaluate together? And then I can get y'all connected. Joe is my buddy out there that's the agent, and he could give more local feedback on it if you would like. Okay, cool. Any feedback on that one before we go to Austin, Texas? All right, let's go. So let's go over to Austin.
I'm excited to do Austin. That's one that Matt was telling me earlier today that that's a market they may be interested in. So
Matt, really?
Hmm. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Let's go do
yeah.
Austin. So what I've done is I've already put in those filters, and so it's already pre-underwrote all these properties and only left a handful. And again, I did a minimum of 1% cash on cash on this with that $100,000 buffer. And so let's just pull up, let's see, which one was it I found the other day? Here it is. Okay, so this one's kind of interesting. Again, I literally just found this like today. So, what we would need to make sure is really do some due diligence with a local teammate and check on STR regulations and all that stuff. But this one is kind of interesting because it looks like there's some land. There's already some good bones there at this property. It's a reasonable purchase price under $1 million in a very strong market. There's some land out there. It looks like there's some ADUs, some multiple units and pretty close to downtown. And so this is showing 6 bedrooms could make 178,000 in revenue. It's already showing a strong cash on cash. So this is where we really need to dissect it together. And let's just say the purchase price stays the same. Um, let's go to revenue. Now, again, I have not seen this property. I need to talk to local agents. So I would say keep this at the 50th percentile, the mid scale, to be safe. And it seems like it would need some investment. It looks like there's some cool murals already there, but let's just say a minimum of 50 for furniture, maybe 50 for renovation. And then you have everything else added, maybe juice up insurance. Go to financing, let's say 15% down on this one, 7% interest rate. Okay, this is showing close to a 20% cash or cash, making about 4,000 per month in net cash flow. So anyway, this is one, again, I found this in like 2 minutes. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure if how legit it is, but this is how you're able to find them quickly. And so what I usually do at this point, if I find something that is showing an attractive deal like this, I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. If I like the market, I'm excited about it. Then what I do is I'll go to the comps dashboard and then I'll go plug in the address. And on the comps dashboard, it's going to give you a 5 mile radius of all the comps in that area, and we'll rank it from top to bottom of the highest comps to the lowest. And then you can see, okay, well, this property is kind of comparable to these. It could probably make this, but if I did this, this, and that, then I could get up to that 75th or the 90th percentile. Once I feel confident about that, that's where I'll engage with a local agent and say, all right, hey, I've underwritten this property. Here's all the details of that property. What do you think? And that's why I'm so big about our community coming together because, there's so many nuances to this to where, if you're going to be making a $500,000 $1 million decision it's nice having a lot of verification of that through not only the data, but also the community and the local resources so that you don't make a mistake. So that's how the
Yeah.
community and all the data and the technology come together so that it's very, very helpful and you feel super confident about, moving forward with every property that is. So,
Hey
uh,
Matt, can you kind of explain where that data in the app comes from, like where we generate all of these numbers and information?
yeah, let's do that now. Let me stop this screen and I will pivot over to the comps dashboard. Okay, one sec. Okay, can you all see my screen here?
Yeah.
Cool. Let me hide this.
And so this is the comps dashboard, but the listing is on the app, right?
The listings on the app, yep. And
Got
so
it.
we just did a big $1 million fundraise, and the whole purpose of that is, we've got these two technologies that are not fully integrated yet. And so
Sure.
the purpose of what we're doing with this $1 million is building what we're calling StrIQ 2.0, which is going to be a fully integrated, you know, great experience for everyone. So that'll be rolling out first quarter of next year.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So let me give you an example. So this is the Fredericksburg example I showed you earlier. And what I did is I inputted a location in this search bar. And what happened is it took like 2,000 comps down to about 40 comps because I
Hmm.
put in a minimum bedroom of five and I opened it up to anything above five. I could call it like 5 to 8 maybe. And what's cool is, okay, it took it down to like 38 comps based on that. So I'm looking at anything between 5 and 8 bedrooms. The reason I did that is because once you get into these larger mega properties, there's just not that many comps. So I kind of like to have a range. Um, and you can open up that distance to like a 10-mile radius if you like, but I like a kind of a 5 mile radius is a good place to start with any comps. And then, we take out the bad data, any Airbnbs that don't have minimums of 15 reviews, minimum of 4 stars, and then these Airbnbs have to be on the market for about two-thirds of the year or more, or three-fourths of the year or more. Okay, so what's cool about this is it shows me the revenue potential here, but it also shows me this comp right here by that blue dot. And what do you know? That's the property I'm buying. So I actually have a comp on the property I'm buying. And again, I think I told y'all earlier, it's making about 108,000. Well,
Hmm.
we were projecting it was making about 106,000. So we are pretty close to the actual revenue. Now, this effective revenue shows what we think it could have made, which is actually very close to what it's actually making. And if you notice this, it shows like 29% occupancy. It's only been booked like not that many times. So again, first glance, when people look at that, they're like, well, why would I buy that? Well, I see big opportunity to juice up occupancy. I'm also seeing opportunity on the ADR to juice that up by 1 or 200 bucks per night. And then you can actually even go to the listing and see all the reviews of, what's working well, what's not. Well, here's what's cool. If I go down here, this is showing, hey, I'm probably going to make about what it's making if I'm average. Okay, so it's an average producing property. But if I'm better than average, I could get up to this like 225. And in the app, I was showing y'all 250. Why did I show 250? It's because I think I can get up here in this 90th or even a little bit higher based on key things. So the next thing you've got to think about is, okay, how do I get up there? Well, what I do is I go to this table view and I go from highest to lowest, and you can see what these top performers are doing.
Hmm.
You can see right here, and you can even go to the listing, what they're making, and you can go, find out what in the world are these people doing to generate that much revenue. And so I see, larger bedrooms are doing well. Um, I'm seeing like if I want to look at the top amenities here, it's saying, hey, hot tub is extremely important, family friendly. So like family reunions, thinking like outdoor kitchen, pickleball, a pool is also important if I can add that. So by doing a few of these things, I think I can get up to this range here. Let me see if there's any that would actually be interesting to look at. But yeah, I mean, you can go through some of these and just see what people are doing. So like, here's one, again, cool design. I mean, great pictures. Um, so I mean, there's, this farmhouse cottage. So again, I think based on those numbers, I can get up to that 250. So that's how you're able to use the comps dashboard to help validate and verify.
Got it.
Well, I see we've got just a few minutes left. Matt, anything you wanted to look at together in the comps dashboard or the app together?
Sure, let's do this. I have been trying to pull up a few addresses, and every time I do it in the app, it just spins. Is that normal?
Yeah, so the app, that was we bootstrapped this company. So the
Sure.
app itself, the search bar is not amazing functionality wise yet
Okay.
because it's not actually pulling up the property. It's running an analysis every time you type in an address, which is like it's analyzing a lot of data points. But in the
Sure.
comps dashboard, you can type in the address, and eventually we'll be able to do it all together. So are you trying to find out revenue potential, or are you just trying to like find the actual property?
A little bit of both. Let me give you a property that I am currently looking at. So let's go to Phoenix, and I'll give you the address.
Okay. Do you want to?
It's
I can actually look it up in Phoenix. If we don't do the search bar, if we just find it on the map, do you want to find it on the map, or do you want to look at the revenue potential in the comps dashboard?
let's do it. Let's do it both. I'll give you the address if you want to just type it in first.
Okay.
It's 4411 North 46th Place in Phoenix. Let me find the zip. The zip is 85018.
Okay. No, you're good. You don't have to type in it. The
Oh,
search bar will find it if you can give it at least enough. Okay, so this is showing it's kind of between Phoenix and Scottsdale.
yeah, it's in Arcadia.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's in this little pocket. It's kind of a little bubble. It's right in the Biltmore area.
Okay.
Um, so
And
it's a lovely area, and it has a pool. What is it? It is 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,200 square feet pool. Um, but I can't gather. I'm not sure if it's being used as an STR or not currently, but I believe it would be a great one in that little area. It's got a
okay,
hot tub. I
cool.
think
So
all
what
this.
this is showing right now, again, I like to start with like base layer and then I like to refine it from there. So
Sure,
I'll tell you my opinion and then we can, role play it if you want to. So,
sure.
you type in the address, 5 mile radius around here. It's pulling a lot of Scottsdale comps. So the first thing I'm thinking about is, this is probably important because you're near like Old Town and all that stuff. So I would probably want to bring the radius in like slightly, maybe to like 4 miles or even like 3 miles, as long as I've got plenty of comps. Um, let's just see what 3 miles says. Okay, let's just do that right there. So now we've kind of tightened the radius to where it's not like walking distance to Scottsdale or to Old Town.
I almost wonder if Scottsdale's actually hurting it a little bit because this would be like a little. This is right nestled up to Camelback
Oh, cool.
Mountain,
Well, I
and
noticed that the revenue actually increased when we took away some of that
I
too.
have
So,
a feeling. Yeah, I don't know the area. I'm not like I was gonna say. If you even went to two, I bet you it increases more.
yeah, I think
Um,
it increased this a little bit.
yeah,
Okay, cool. So let's do this. So 4 bedroom. I don't like to do bath and guest count yet, but you can later if you want.
yeah.
We have the bad data taken out here. So this is saying 4 bedroom could make probably about 115 grand if you're average. If you're better than average, 160, or if you're one of the best, 200 or maybe even above. This one, I don't know. It's probably some crazy outlier. Let's just see if we go to top to bottom here. It is showing a couple in this like crazy range. I mean, we could see what they look like. I mean, I don't even know if that's true or not. I mean, making 800 grand. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy. So let's go to something more realistic, like this 400 one. So, okay, I mean, you're like literally in the mountain. Uh,
That's right in Camelback.
so is
Yeah.
this like what would yours look like? I mean, kind of like this?
Uh, no, not that cool.
Yeah.
No. I don't think this one is. Yeah, no, not. I can show you if I can. You want to? You want me to share my screen?
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the whole point of this is to see what your listing looks like. There's certain things like those crazy views that like, you won't be able to compete with. Let me exit out of mine real quick. There you go.
Okay.
Can you share your screen?
Hold on here. This is. There we go. All right.
Okay, cool.
So it's this little property. So this is Camelback, right?
Yeah,
This is the little property right here. It's like a little um it's like a
cool.
little pizza shaped. So let's see. It's all been redone. I think it's got all the amenities you just talked about. Um, pool, hot tub, high end. Arcadia is kind of a higher end neighborhood. It'd probably be, you guys are in Texas, right? So it'd probably be a lot like a Westlake, maybe out there in Austin.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. You tell me what you want to see. Like there's a little bit. I mean, it's got,
The outdoor space is really I really want to see.
yeah,
Okay, so there's already um, putting green and pool.
correct.
Is there a revenue history on it?
Not that I could find. And that's why earlier, Leslie, I was asking about like where is this drawing revenue from? Because I all I can find on this property is what's listed on Zillow. I can't find anything else, and so I I don't know if it's ever been or if I'm starting from scratch. Anyways, because
Yeah,
this property right next to it, this is a fairly large new build that is a running STR that's doing quite well. And what you'll find is in this market, like here's the backyard.
yeah,
Uh, in this probably in this neighborhood, you're getting a lot of folks that are coming in to play golf for an event, for tournaments, things like that. You've got,
Mhm.
um, well, it's like I said, it's right there in the Biltmore area. You've got all the resorts, and you got Camelback right there. So I was
Mhm.
trying to figure out if there was a way to get a range on what this thing could generate because I can't seem to find any info anywhere else.
Yeah. What I'm seeing just high level is around 115 to 200 grand. Now the purchase price of this is like 1.8, right?
Yeah, almost 1.9 right now.
Okay, so 1.9. So if the max you could make is like 200 grand maybe, then it basically would be probably a break even or slightly less. So the way you would have to get above that is um if I'm looking at this again, there are showing some that are making 230 to 400, maybe even up to 500. You've got a couple things I noticed. One, guest count, getting that guest count higher to like 12 to 16 people. So a couple things I would think about is can you convert a garage? Is there a garage on
Sure.
this thing?
It's not a garage. Currently, it's like this covered carport, which is
Okay.
like 2.5 to 3 cars. I don't know if you could build out, and nowadays with all these ADUs that you can build, I
Yeah.
would think there's potentially an ADU unit you could put there um,
Yeah.
to increase, hey, outdoor office, wellness, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking so like another amenity that's showing up here is gym. Um, hot tub and gym. I mean, you already have the pool. And
It
so
has a hot tub on it.
yeah, I think there's a hot tub. So yeah, the
Yep.
hot tub and pool and you already have putting green. So a few things I'm noticing, it doesn't have any murals. It doesn't have like any really cool string lights.
It does have string lights in the back.
It does. Okay.
Um, what's the deal with murals? What's the deal with that? In all like,
Well, it depends on your core avatar and the
mm,
market. So like Fredericksburg, its murals are kind of not a good thing because people want to feel like they're going back in time and going to a ranch and like at home, very homey thing. So it depends on your core avatar, but in Scottsdale and Phoenix, I've noticed like murals are a big draw to just like differentiate yourself from like all these other people. So it doesn't have to be corny. Like if it's a luxury Airbnb, it can be very like, I don't know, luxury feel to it. But it's
Sure.
very Instagrammable. You get a lot of like photos by it.
Sure.
Um, it's just, I don't know, it's a big deal for some reason in Scottsdale, I've noticed. So like one of the best performing properties there, Summerled designed it and they did a really cool mural on the back of the pool. So it's like a crazy cool like hero shot. And then they built out the garage to like a karaoke thing. So anyway, I'm thinking about that carport. If you were to build that in, maybe work with like B&B Construction or one of these like local construction groups, do like some cool amenity space there.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm you, I'm probably thinking it'll probably make 200 grand, knowing maybe there's an opportunity to get up to 300 if you do it right. But again, you're limited by the number of bedrooms. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just it's hard to get up to that 300 to 400 grand mark if you just are a 2 to 3 bedroom or 4 bedroom property, right? So,
Sure. Sure.
I would say this is really cool property, but it's probably not going to cash flow a ton unless you just go crazy with it.
Makes sense. Okay.
Oh. Well, cool. Anything else? I know we're a little over time.
No, that was super helpful. I really appreciate you guys running me through it. I'll fool around with it a little bit more, and if I
Yeah.
have questions, I'll jump into one of the office hours.
Cool. Hey, yeah, and if there is a market you like or a property you like, but it's not on the app, get that MLS, send a Zillow link with that MLS, and we'll
Okay.
go get that market.
Okay. Cool. Thanks,
Cool.
guys.
All right, thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.